Hey guys, so I'm out here. I've got my EPP FPV out in Foster City, and I have a ArkBird system in it. Not a lot known about the ArkBird system. I've been testing it out for probably a month or so. So it's a GPS-enabled OSD and stabilizer, and it's a bit to set up, but once it's set up, it's awesome. So let me just go through initialization, and we will do a flight. I'll show you what's going on. We got my Turner G9X radio with my ER9X firmware, my RMLC UHF system. Here's my cool little plug system I made here. Plug that in. Now what it's doing right now is it's locating GPS satellites, and you'll know that because your tailplane is going vertical. So we're going to wait. I'll plug the wing in while I can, and once it acquires all the satellites, you will have full control. Okay, let me go through the modes as I have them set up on my personal plane. There's a couple options for the custom switches, but this is what I personally like. You've got an on-off switch for all the systems, so right now I'm in complete manual mode. Nothing special, really. When I have my auxiliary switch to the bottom, it's a three-way switch, and I turn on, this goes into auto level. Notice, it's trying to maintain a flat and level orientation. So it'll go down, 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 and then level out. Now if I go up one more switch, I'm in gyro mode. It's not going to hold its orientation, but it will counteract any unwanted motion that you did not give it. Then my top switch is going to be return to home. Notice I flipped return to home, and it didn't turn the prop on. That's because it has a safety 10-meter circle from the original home point when it initialized, and at ground altitude it should turn off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a launch. I'm not going to fly FPV, but I'll turn the camera on, and I'll show you what all those systems do. And I have my return to home set at, I believe it's 40 kilometers an hour speed and 60-meter altitude. So we'll see how that does. It should theoretically just sort of circle us. Okay. So, come in for a pass. Now what I'll do here is set on auto level. So I'll put it in a little bit of a bank and then hit auto level. And now, so that right there was auto level. That's all it was. And if I turn the controls, it'll only let me do a little bit of tilt. That's full lock right there. And then the second I let go, if I don't kill a bird, it goes perfectly level. Pull up, let go, level. Push down, let go, level. It's actually a very powerful tool, especially if you're learning how to fly. It doesn't let you take too much control. It'll never let you go beyond probably 35 degrees angle. So again, that's a full lock circle right now. I'd be doing rolls if I was out of auto level. So that's the auto level feature. And you need to adjust and calibrate auto level quite a bit until you get it just right. Another thing is, since the auto level does technically have a reset when you turn the controls, you want to try not to trim with your transmitter too much, because that can throw things off. You want to try to trim the plane out perfectly level, just as physical trim instead of a digital trim on your transmitter. So that's auto level right there. You can see right there I'm giving it control and then letting go. Very powerful feature, especially for long-range flight. Takes a little bit to get trimmed, as I said. So now let's flip it into gyro mode. There we go, that's gyro mode. Now gyro mode flies, if it's dialed in properly, flies almost as well as manual mode. But it is really smooth and very controllable. So if you're doing like FPV chase, where you need a lot of maneuverability, like this, you need to be able to really flip it around, but you want nice smooth footage, then gyro mode works really well. And it won't return you, so that's hands off. See how it's barely leveling itself out just because of the design of the wing. Now, I'm going to give it a little bit of altitude and test return to home, just because I like having that little extra safety net. Okay, here's return to home. Now what it's doing is it's taking its home lock position, that was the original initialization, and it's using the speed and throttle percentage settings that I programmed into it originally, and maintaining a position hold over the home point. So, as you can see, I'm hands off, throttle down. Its home point was pretty much right over those logs. That's now flooding because of the ridiculous high tide. That's going to take my stuff out. That's hands off, return to home at 60 meters. Very powerful tool. I have been flying long range. I was probably out by the bridge chasing down some tugboats, and I had a moment where my UHF cut out, and it just instantly went to return to home. If you watch the footage, it's just this nice little banks, points right back towards its original location and starts coming back. I had another instance where I was starting to cut out on signal just directly over the water, almost maybe a mile and a half as well, and I didn't like the signal cutting in and out. My video was not solid, so I flipped return to home button, and literally it just brought me all the way back. Just took me for a little ride. So again, this entire time I haven't touched my transmitter. It's just maintaining a holding pattern. Now you can go down as low as 50 meters with this system for your return to home altitude, which is awesome, the adjustability. Do keep in mind, when I was first setting it up, I set it up at low altitude because I knew I was going to be patterning over my head in the beginning. But if you're flying long range and you intend to use this as a safety, I'd probably recommend using a little bit more altitude. You know, maybe 100 meters. Well, maybe not 100 meters, but 80 meters or so. Just so you have a little bit more comfort there in case there's any obstructions on the ground. Okay, now I'm going to do a return to home test. I'm in auto level right now. Just going to fly it out and away from myself. Give it a little more power. And gain a little bit of altitude as well. I'm going to get it out just on the edge of visual range. It's pretty far out there. And now what I'll do is I'll flip on return to home. Now that is doing everything on its own right now. It's going to bring itself to 60 meters, point towards the original home location. It normally brings its altitude down once it comes to home. Should start its pattern at slightly lower altitude. Oh, hi. Still hands off. That's pretty much what would happen. No matter how far out you are, if you've got the battery, it'll come back.